everyone, it's Sam aka Ocean Unknown, and welcome back to my channel. So typically on this channel I talk about video games and books that have a lot of death and morbid concepts, but today I'm changing it up. With the release of Just Dance 2024 back in November of last year, we saw the continuation of the Just Dance lore. Also, yes, Just Dance has lore now. Speaking of which, I'm cosplaying one of the characters from the story, Jack Rose. And I know someone's gonna comment, of course she's cosplaying Jack Rose, he's another evil pretty boy. Guess what? I don't care. There's a fictional character archetype that I've made a part of my brand. So, anyways, Just Dance 2024 ended on a cliffhanger, leaving much to be anticipated for next year when Just Dance 2025 will be released. So today, I'm putting my theory glasses on yet again, and I will be predicting what I think the story will be and maybe some songs that I think will make an appearance in Just Dance 2025. Before I discuss my theories, here's a quick summary of the lore of Just Dance so far. In Just Dance 2023, the game featured the series' first ever story mode called Enter the Danceverses. We follow Wanderlust, a deity and the prince of the Danceverses, which is basically Just Dance's equivalent of a multiverse. He's the son of two other Just Dance coaches, Cihanova, an alien and the coach for levitating by
Dula Peep,
and the Traveler, an entity with multidimensional powers and the coach for Rock Your Body by
Timberlake.
Wanderlust shares the same dimension-crossing powers as his father, and he is often labeled as the Chosen One, with no further implications of this title being stated other than that he can't take his crown off.
Take it off!
I would rather die.
He also created his own companion, a sentient disco ball so creatively named Disco Ball, which helps him travel through Danceverses and also gives him access to the real world. Seeing potential in a woman named Sarah in the real world, he gives her the Disco Ball and transports her into the Just Dance world, as he dances with her and shows her the way around the Danceverses. However, at the end of this map, which is to Can't Stop the Feeling by
Timberlake.
Sarah and Wanderlust are ambushed by the villain of this story, Night Swan, as she kidnaps the coaches that were alongside them. In the next map, Witch by Apache featuring Alina Pash, we are introduced to Night Swan as she turns the kidnapped coaches into her mindless bird-like minions and then opens new portals to different worlds for her minions to invade. We also get a small glimpse at me! At the beginning of the map, Jack Rose, Night Swan's son and right-hand man, is right by her side. Outside of the game, there's been some revealed lore for Night Swan that she was a ballerina but her career was unsuccessful, leading to her life of villainy and also her perfectionist mindset. Night Swan is also from Eternix, the darkest of the Danceverses, as it is powered by the shadow of the Flow, the main power of the Just Dance universe. Going back to Sarah and Wanderlust, after witnessing the other coaches get kidnapped, they have now made it their mission to find the best dancers, form a team, and stop Night Swan before her evil plans are brought to fruition. They first find Breziana, a motivational and optimistic fitness influencer who is the coach for Physical by
Dula Peep,
and Mihai, the apprentice of the Flow, who, through their spiritual journey in their map to Rather Be by Clean Bandit featuring Just Glynn, has been given the paw print mark of their teacher, a giant panda, as they have mastered the power of the Flow. Lastly, we get fully introduced to Jack Rose in his map to Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars. As a young boy, Jack would practice dancing, but his mother would not be the most approving, which some interpret as her not wanting him to be a performer at all, whereas some, including myself, see her disapproval more as her projecting her perfectionism onto him and her thinking he's not good enough to be the performer he dreams to be, or perhaps he cannot channel the dark flow because dance to him is about expressing himself rather than trying to achieve perfection, which is what his mother wants. As an adult, Jack sees himself as a pop star performing for his adoring fans, which, let's be real, if Jack was a real musical artist, I would be a fan. However, his mother is still not the kindest to him, and at the end of the map, he is back in his room as the Just Dancers teleport into the scene. Wanderlust asks Jack to join them to stop Night Swan from taking over the Danceverses, which starts the map from Majesty by Apache featuring Wasu. Jack is apprehensive to join Wanderlust's side and ends up turning him into one of Night Swan's minions. He instantly regrets what he's done as Breziana and Mihai fight Night Swan's army and ends up saving them and reverting them back to their original selves. In the background during Mihai's section, you can see Jack arguing with his mom and urging her to reason with everyone. Then, Jack does one of his moves from Locked Out of Heaven and frees Wanderlust. I do also need to mention that Jack and Wanderlust recreate a move that Wanderlust's parents do in their romance map, Save Your Tears remixed by The Weeknd and Ariana Grande. And while this could just be a callback to Wanderlust's parents, I personally see this as a sign that Wanderlust and Jack got their own enemies to lovers story going on.
Hey, you haven't returned any.
are gay!
Anyways, Breziana and Mihai save the other kidnapped coaches, and Jack has officially joined the Just Dancer's side as Sarah fights Night Swan.
It's also important to note that in this game, Sarah and Night Swan were played by the same dancer, Shirley Henault, so that's why they're kind of far away from each other despite this being a battle.
Sarah defeats Night Swan, but with the last of her power, Night Swan opens up a portal and retreats. Our 5 heroes celebrate in the disco ball, and Sarah goes back to the human world, but
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Moving on to the story mode of Just Dance 2024, Dance with the Swan, the story starts with Wanderlust and Disco Ball dancing through the lobby of the dance verses and introducing our characters in a sitcom style in their locations for their 2024 maps. Breziana at a beach, Mihai in their room, Jack in his room in the Swan Tower, and Sarah in the human world. Or is she? At the end of Wanderlust's map, Can't He by Jamiroquai, Wanderlust passes the disco ball to Sarah to welcome her back to the Just Dance world, but it turns out that Sarah was not there, and this was an illusion created by Night Swan as she steals the disco ball and corrupts it. In the next song, You Should See Me in a Crown by Billie Eilish, Sarah is back in the human world as who she thinks is Wanderlust gives her the disco ball, but she gets pulled into the Just Dance world by Night Swan and the now evil disco ball. Using the dark flow and her magic, Night Swan corrupts Sarah and starts manipulating her like a puppet.
In this game, there's a new dancer for Night Swan, so we get more interactions between Sarah and Night Swan, like this beautiful moment.
Sarah tries to escape her own corruption as Wanderlust sees this all go down, and he knows exactly what he must do. He's got to get the band back together and save Sarah. He finds Breziana first, who before he shows up, stops Night Swan from abducting her friends on the beach to Stronger What Doesn't Kill You by Kelly Clarkson. After Breziana is Mihai, and it's revealed that Mihai had some kind of connection to Night Swan that has now been broken as they rip a poster of Night Swan that was in their room. Mihai's song, Never Be Like You by Flume featuring Kai then starts as they transport back to the Temple of the Flow, and as the bridge of the song starts, their mastery of the flow allows them to transform into a panda. Wanderlust recruits them as he tries to get Jack's attention at the start of the next map, Treasure by Bruno Mars. Jack looks at his reflection in the water like the brooding, emo dude he is as Night Swan distracts her son from Wanderlust calls for help as she enchants the water. The warped reflection of Jack Rose is the dancer for Treasure as his hair and feather are more like his mother's, and Night Swan shows him a fantasy of him being the star he wishes to be and taking over her empire. The staff of Just Dance have stated that Night Swan in this scene is feeding into her son's weakness, his cockiness, and using it to manipulate him back to her side.
Also, the fact that this map completely changes the meaning of the song Treasure, and in this context, it's Night Swan love-bombing her son by calling him her treasure, is honestly so sad. I honestly just want to give Jack a hug.
Anyways, Jack doesn't cave into his mother's illusion, but because he never saw Wanderlust cry for help, he stays in the Swan Tower as Wanderlust, Breziana, and Mihai transport to Night Swan's boat to save Sarah. Sarah reveals herself to be corrupted as Wanderlust tries to save her in Swan Lake. However, one by one, Sarah uses the dark flow to suck the life out of her friends. Mihai is the last one to lose, but they go out with a fucking bang, transforming into a panda and startling Sarah. And also, I'm like 99% sure that Sarah didn't corrupt Mihai. Night Swan did. Unlike Wanderlust and Breziana, we don't see Sarah manipulate the magic to convert Mihai, and the magic actually comes from above. Before Swan Lake started, Night Swan flew up in the air to evade the Just Dancers, and taking into consideration the eluded history of Night Swan and Mihai might be a lot stronger than we know, and Night Swan felt the need to take them out herself. Before Mihai becomes gray and lifeless, they send out their paw print symbol using the flow to Jack as he witnesses his friends become corrupted with the dark flow and are now under his mother's control. Lastly, the evil Just Dancers and Night Swan dance on the Swan ship to a cover of Tainted Love by Gloria Jones as the ship takes off and Jack is too late to save his friends.
So now that I've explained the current story of Just Dance 2023 and 2024, I will talk about my predictions for what will happen in the story of Just Dance 2025.
To make a somewhat accurate prediction for Just Dance 2025, we first need to establish the already existing tropes in the story mode of Just Dance and then build up the story from there. Looking at both story modes, the commonalities are a song about dancing for Wanderlust, a duet for Sarah, a creepy song for Night Swan, an uplifting and confident song for Breziana, a future-based song with a somewhat emotional meaning for Mihai, a Bruno Mars song for Jack, and then a powerful song for a battle that possibly samples classical music. Also, none of the songs in the story mode are too recent, with the most recent of all the story modes being Physical, which came out in early 2020. To start with the easiest trope to follow and the best one to start with for the lore since he's our only uncorrupted Just Dancer, I've got some good options for another Bruno Mars song for Jack. There's some good ones for if the writers want to focus on his cocky attitude before he has to go off and save the world, like Perm or That's What I Like, or more sentimental ones about how he misses his friends and blames himself for them becoming corrupted, such as Grenade or When I Was Your Man, which both would be pretty great to make Wander Rose canon. Come on, Just Dance, do it for the gays. However, my personal favorite option for Jack's map in 2025 would be Runaway Baby. Not only is that my favorite Bruno Mars song, but it would really work for a story mode opener of Jack running through Swan Tower trying to get to the ship that his mom and all of his friends are on, as well as him maybe trying to escape some of Night Swan's minions. We might even see Jack running to gather up a team to help him get his friends back, like maybe Louise Dials and all the coaches Night Swan imprisoned in Telephone.
The lyrics of Runaway Baby also make sense with Jack's charismatic yet arrogant attitude, but the lyrics could also play into Night Swan's plans, especially the lyric, "Before I put my spell on you."
Moving on from Jack, I do think we'll get at least one map with one of the corrupted characters. I think an evil Sarah and Wanderlust duet would be pretty cool, maybe to a song by
Dula Peep.
Connecting it back to Wanderlust's parents. I could see maybe Prisoner by Dua Lipa and Miley Cyrus being used, or if they want to use a very recent song, Dance the Night if this is at a happier moment in the story. I could also see maybe one of them is corrupted but the other isn't, and the dances to Mirrors by Justin Timberlake as one of them tries to help the other one remember that they're not evil.
However, random suggestion I'm throwing out here, what if their duet is still them being evil, but it's to evacuate the dance floor by Cascada?
Like, it's a song about dancing, it's a fun song, I could see it. While I'm not going to go into complete detail on this, if Sarah were to get a solo song, I think a really good song for her would be My Head in My Heart by Ava Max. For Night Swan, I think her map in Just Dance 2025 could be a potential villain origin story for her, or another possibility could be her planning with the evil versions of the Just Dancers and her bird army for the next part of her plan to take over the dance verses.
So you all know what this means. Villain era songs.
Some options I considered for Night Swan are Centuries by Fall Out Boy, Control or Castle by Halsey, Twisted by Missio, which honestly could work for either scenario I mentioned, Horns by Bryce Fox and Arc North, Everything Black by Unlike Pluto and Mike Taylor, and Villain by Bella Poarch. For Breziana, whether corrupted or not, I chose a song for her that I genuinely have no clue why it isn't already in Just Dance, and that is Confident by Demi Lovato. Another option I could see for Breziana is Power by Little Mix or Stronger by Britney Spears. For Mihai, I think their map will have to do with their past of being a fan of Night Swan. Little Siha mentions this in her video about the Just Dance 24 lore, that Mihai has dealt with a journey seeking perfection and mastering dance, and as we all know, Night Swan is the ultimate perfectionist.
I don't know, I think a Mihai and Night Swan duet could be pretty cool. However, I do think the main duet in the story will be Sarah and Wanderlust as a callback to the very first map in the Just Dance storyline.
Because of how Mihai was a fan of Night Swan before becoming the apprentice of the Flow, it's been confirmed by the lore guardian Aurora through Little Siha's 2024 lore video that Mihai was a fan and follower of Night Swan due to her charisma and elegance as a dancer. Because of this, I also think Mihai before the events of Enter the Dance Verses was pursuing the dark flow as a form of escapism. This could also explain why Mihai has bright pink hair, which is Night Swan's main color other than black. However, Mihai started practicing the flow and realized that the flow made them feel a lot more safe and find more confidence. Mihai's potential with channeling the flow gets the attention of the giant panda, and eventually, as we see in Never Be Like You, they master the flow and are able to transform into a panda. After the events of Enter the Dance Verses, Mihai fully realizes how evil Night Swan and the Dark Flow are and completely denounces their previous allegiance to her.
Regarding what song Mihai's dance could be in Just Dance 2025, I honestly don't know.
I literally looked up songs like Rather Be by Clean Bandit for this segment, and I've chosen a few of them. If it is a duet with Night Swan, Latch by Disclosure featuring Sam Smith could work, but if it's just Mihai, then perhaps Symphony by Clean Bandit featuring Zara Larsson? Mihai's probably the hardest for me to think of songs for, but the easiest when it comes to storylines, so I'm gonna move on. The penultimate song in every story mode so far has been the big battle scene, and as I've mentioned before, there's kind of a trend that there's classical influence in the music. My first thought of a dramatic song that samples classical music was Feel My Rhythm by Red Velvet, which samples Bach's Air on G-string. Of course I'm biased because I am a K-pop fan, but I do think Feel My Rhythm could be a beautiful song for the conclusion of this trilogy. However, a K-pop song being in the story playlist is unlikely because if the song were to be added, the main version would have to be the original choreography as an extreme mode dance, rather than a story-driven dance map. Despite this, alternate versions of songs can be related to the Just Dance lore, as Brosiana is the coach for the fitness version of Survivor by Destiny's Child, and that dance has a minimal connection to the lore as it takes place before Stronger. A strong contender that plays into a side part of the lore is Alejandro by Lady Gaga, which samples Stardust by Victoria Monti, since it has been confirmed that the prison and the map for Lady Gaga and Beyoncé's telephone is owned by Night Swan. The Lady Gaga coaches plus a new one for Alejandro that escaped from Night Swan's prison may join in the fight to help Jack save his friends and stop his mother's plans. Another option which directly ties in with Mihai is Clean Bandit's Mozart House, which as the title suggests samples Mozart, specifically his string quartet number 21. Other options include Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes, which samples Bruckner's Fifth Symphony, and The Phoenix by Fall Out Boy, which samples Shostakovich's Symphony No. 7. For non-classical related songs, since I'm still not completely sure about the Majesty correlation, some songs that could work are Run Boy Run by Woodkid, Warriors by Imagine Dragons, or for a random shot in the dark, Ballroom Blitz by Sweet.
I mean, ballroom is a style of dance.
Lastly, after the battle, we have the finale group number with the Just Dancers, and once again, I have no clue what the song could be. It could be another original Ubisoft song or a cover of a pre-existing song, so I really have no clue.
That last section was honestly me scrambling ideas around like a conspiracy theorist with some push pins and red yarn. So this section is an attempt at actually forming a possible story with my theories for Just Dance 2025.
Both Just Dance 2023 and 2024 follow this character order for the story playlist. Wanderlust, Sarah, Night Swan, Bresiana, Mihai, Jack Rose, then the battle, and lastly, the finale. So for the sake of this video, I will be following this format because I doubt they will change it up. Starting with Wanderlust and Sarah, I'm gonna stick with my idea from the predictions section and say their dance is to Mirrors by Justin Timberlake. The map starts with Night Swan opening up a portal to a new place where we see Sia Nova and the Traveler. It's important to note here that the Lore Guardian has confirmed that deities like Sia Nova can't help with the Night Swan situation, so for the sake of this story, Night Swan isn't taunting Wanderlust's parents. She's just kind of showing him off like an evil little trophy. As Wanderlust sees his parents, things start to happen. Wanderlust and Sarah start off still evil, but Wanderlust starts to shift back to his regular self, seeing flashing pictures of his parents, his friends, and the person he once was. With the new information about Wanderlust's character from the Lore Guardian, we know that Wanderlust's main weakness is his naivety, and he has questioned why he must be the chosen one. I kind of view Wanderlust almost like Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender in this sense, where he is destined to save everyone and be this mighty, powerful demigod, but in reality he just wants to dance and have fun and be with his friends. The Lore Guardian has also said that Wanderlust and Jack Rose have something in common, but never disclosed what exactly it is. I personally think both of them have expectations placed upon them by their parents that they wish to rebel against. Jack wants to be a performer but doesn't want to hurt others like his mother, and I think Wanderlust doesn't want all the pressure that comes with being the chosen one. I think he will truly change back to himself when he sees Sarah, the friend he has cherished the most during this adventure. And before anyone says, but what about Jack Rose? Notice how I said Sarah was his most cherished friend. Sarah tries to fight him off and make him stay evil, but Wanderlust eventually breaks Night Swan's spell, opens up a portal, and escapes. I think Wanderlust would go to find Jack, probably still sulking on that pier. Jack would be quite surprised to see Wanderlust completely fine, but embraces him because he's glad he's okay. Sarah, defeated, tells Night Swan that he's escaped, but she doesn't really care as she feels she can't be defeated. This leads to Night Swan's map, and a really cool parallel I could see is that this dance starts with Night Swan on her throne again like in Witch, but instead of Jack being by her side, it's Sarah. The lore guardian also stated that Night Swan and Sarah have something in common, which is likely a desire to be admired. This connection between them makes sense since in my interpretation, I think Sarah will be the last Just Dancer to become uncorrupted and will stay on Night Swan's side for a little while. For Night Swan's map, I'm going with my second storyline, which was Night Swan, Evil Sarah, and the Bird Army initiating the next phase of their plan. For the song, I'll go with Castle by Halsey for now. It's the most regal of the songs I chose, and I think Night Swan would try to look as intimidating and imposing as she can for the next phase of her plan to take over the dance verses. At the end of Night Swan's map, we see her gesture towards Braziana and Mihai, who are leading a group of bird minions into new portals, and then we see Wanderlust and Jack pointing out what portal to go in first, and they go into the one Braziana went into. This starts Braziana's song, which I'll say is Confident by Demi Lovato. Braziana is leading a charge of the Night Swan army while dancing to the song as her and the minions convert more coaches into minions. During the middle of the song, Jack and Wanderlust arrive and remind Braziana of her optimism and infectious energy, and do some of the dance moves typically associated with Braziana's choreographies. She returns back to normal for the final chorus, and she is able to save all of the minions in the map, and her, Jack, and Wanderlust teleport to the next map, which is where Mihai is. I definitely think Night Swan would somehow be able to send Mihai to the Temple of the Flow in an attempt to corrupt the power source of the flow. Evil Mihai encounters the giant panda, and they engage in a dance battle. That for now I will say is To Latch by Disclosure featuring Sam Smith.
I also like that I chose this song for my prediction because since Mihai is a non-binary character, I wanted to give them a song by a non-binary artist. So Mihai with Sam Smith makes perfect sense for me.
The giant panda, and then later in the song, Wanderlust, Jack, and Braziana help Mihai come to their senses. They're able to transform into a panda again and channel the flow, and the team except Sarah are finally back together. But before they can save Sarah and stop Night Swan once and for all, we need Jack Rose's time to shine.
Well, my original plan for the storyline was to have Runaway Baby here and have Jack and everyone be in the Swan Tower trying to escape Night Swan before the final battle, but we need more of a redemption story for Jack because I feel like in this story, Wanderlust has kind of been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and I think Jack needs his moment.
So now, the song for Jack is Grenade by Bruno Mars, and the map is about how Jack feels bad about not protecting his friends. The chorus still has the same concert feel of his past dances, but it's in more of a ballad style, and the audience is made up of only his friends. I could also see there being large screens in the background like a concert, and during the bridge, the screens would show Night Swan, specifically for the line, "You said you loved me, you're a liar cause you never ever did." After this map, Wanderlust comforts him and they embrace in a hug.
Gay rights! Yeah! Gay rights! I'm gay.
After a soft moment between Wanderlust and Jack, they, along with Braziana and Mihai, are ready to save Sarah and stop Night Swan. Wanderlust opens up the portal to the Swan Tower, specifically to Night Swan's throne room, as they run through and charge in. Night Swan sends Sarah and her minions after them as the final battle begins, and my main prediction is that the battle song will be The Phoenix by Fall Out Boy.
This song is also perfect for the final battle, not only because it's a great song, and two, a phoenix is a type of bird and it's red, so in this case, Jack Rose is the phoenix rising against his mother.
The battle starts with Jack Rose trying to reconcile with his mother, as during different parts of the song, Braziana and Mihai fight Night Swan's army and save more coaches, with Mihai transforming into a panda for part of the fight. Wanderlust fights Evil Sarah, and as it always happens in the battles, Wanderlust gets very close to losing against her. Jack jumps in to help Wanderlust, and with their combined powers together, as well as Braziana and Mihai joining in, they're able to save Sarah from Night Swan's spell. At the climax of the song, Night Swan in her rage of losing Sarah gains even more power and maybe grows big like how she did in You Should See Me in a Crown. All of a sudden, everyone is able to defeat Night Swan once and for all, with the final hit being delivered by our team of 5, led by Sarah. With Night Swan defeated, our team of 5 celebrates the victory, and the story ends.
And that is my prediction for the main story of Just Dance 2025. But before I finish up this video, I wanted to also discuss some of the side stories and lore in Just Dance and how those stories might possibly continue.
Starting with probably the most well-known side story of the Just Dance lore, I think we will get somewhat of a resolution to the romance between the bride, the dancer for Hot and Cold by Katy Perry in the first Just Dance, and Sweet But Psycho by Ava Max in Just Dance 2023, and Rasputin, the coach for the song of the same name by Boney M in Just Dance 2, and I Am My Own Muse by Fall Out Boy in Just Dance 2023. 2024. For a small explanation behind this lore, the bride and Rasputin were confirmed to be a couple in the map for Sugar by Maroon 5 in Just Dance 2019, and were confirmed to still be together in Just Dance 2022 in the map for Katy Perry's Last Friday Night. There's also a theory that Last Friday Night is a prequel to Sugar, as the bride is impressed by Rasputin's dance moves at the party and then steals his beard. Moving on to Sweet But Psycho, Rasputin doesn't show up to his wedding to the bride, and she does not take it very well, ripping up all their photos and destroying the wedding venue. She tears up the place until the sun goes down, and then when the song ends and she's gone, Rasputin shows up, completely shocked. This leads into I Am My Own Muse, where Rasputin gets a makeover, and basically turned into Paul from Big Brother. Like, corporate needs me to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. Rasputin dramatically dances to express his feelings of losing the woman he loves, as he puts the photos the bride tore down back up. For where the story is going to go from here, I think we will get a duet with both the bride and Rasputin's new designs where their feelings are rekindled and they possibly elope. However, the lore guardian and other members of the Just Dance team have confirmed that, for one, this isn't the first time the bride has been left at the altar, and two, this story will be connected with the music video of Hot and Cold. Now, for a little refresher, in this video, the groom is having second thoughts and he sees a vision of if he says no to marrying Katy Perry, she chases him down in the street, humiliates him through the methods of crowd surfing and questionable 2000s dance moves, and then she threatens to send a zebra to trample on him. However, he says yes in the end at the altar, likely mortified that a zebra's hooves on his face were in his future. Regarding the bride's first time being left at the altar, Little Siha suggested that the coach who left her first was Mr. Overlord, the coach from, since he was seen flirting with her in the background of the map for Last Friday Night. In terms of what song it'll be, So Am I by Ava Max could be a good option, or because of the use of the Fall Out Boy song earlier, Thanks for the Memories or Irresistible by Fall Out Boy could be good ones. The wedding theme also screams I Write Sins Not Tragedies to me, but there's one song that I am dead set on being the bride and Rasputin's conclusion song, and that is Still Into You by Paramore. Lastly, as far as other recurring characters in Just Dance, I think we may see Agent D with another Britney Spears map. Maybe You Drive Me Crazy, maybe I Wanna Go or Break the Ice, possibly even Hold It Against Me or Me Against the Music. I also think we may see Louise Dials and some of the other Lady Gaga coaches again. I mentioned maybe getting Alejandro in Just Dance, but there's another Lady Gaga song that I'm so surprised is not in Just Dance. How do we not have paparazzi in the game yet? I think we're probably also going to get another tribute map, which will likely be for Ariana Grande since she has the most songs in Just Dance behind Katy Perry, and the first tribute map was dedicated to Katy, so it's likely Ariana will get one too. It will likely be to Dangerous Woman or Focus, but I think a really beautiful one would be to POV, since if it had the other Ariana coaches, it could be a sweet storytelling kind of moment. Not lore related, but I would love some different K-pop groups to be featured, like some TXT, Monsta X, or IVE songs would be amazing. But also, you all know me, I want more ATs in the game. I hope to see more of the Just Dance one-off kind of villains again, like Mothgan, Cygnus, and Amanita. Also, Ila Kim. As my IRL friends know, I love clowns and creepy stuff, and Ila Kim has some crazy lore. Go watch Little Siha's analysis of Akira if you haven't. I feel like we'll be seeing our iconic MB clown in the future. Also, I'd love to see another map in the Ari and Grace storyline. Gonna get a little personal here, but as a queer woman myself, seeing this beautiful representation and the clear love and care these two have for each other is so lovely. I'm a little worried since the lore guardian has stated that their relationship may go through a rough patch, but I think overall Ari and Grace's romance will have a happy ending, or bittersweet at least. Of course, since there have been mentions of Grace's ex in the lore, with her solar map being to Thank You Next and all, if Just Dance wanted the story to get really messy, then they could make a solo map of Grace to Bad Idea Right by Olivia Rodrigo, or even get him back as well. However, for a happier story, an Ari and Grace duet to either Space Girl by Francis Forever or Jenny, I Wanna Ruin Our Friendship by Studio Killers would be great. Lastly, this is a very random one to end off on, but I want to see more of Scotty, the coach of Sunroof by Nikki Ure and Daisy, and Cradles by Suburban. I am not kidding when I say Cradles is my favorite map from Just Dance 2024. Maybe it's just me because I want to see Scotty have a happy dream for once where he's not in a psychedelic fever Salvador Dali painting, as pretty as it is. Maybe that's just me.
And those those are my predictions for the story mode and other miscellaneous things for Just Dance 2025. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to this channel, and make sure to turn on the bell for notifications. Comment down below any thoughts you have on this topic, and for a question of the video, if you've played Just Dance, what is your favorite dance from any of the games? I'll answer my own question. I'm gonna answer with my favorites from childhood memories of playing the games. I really like Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne from Just Dance 2. Pig Me Out from Just Dance 2 was also definitely a favorite of mine. Maneater by Nelly Furtado on Just Dance 4. And Oh No by Marina Absolutely. Also Crucified from Just Dance 4. Iconic. I want to hear from all of you. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much.